Was Gravity Falls just the final step of a much bigger plan? Because here's the part most people don't realize about Bill Cipher. His story doesn't begin in Gravity Falls at all. It goes back, way back. We're talking 1 trillion years in the past. 1 billion years ago, he heard a prophecy that set everything in motion. From then on, every move he made was pushing toward one goal. And even the extinction of the dinosaurs wasn't random at all, but Bill clearing the board for what was coming next. And what was that? Weirdmageddon, the merging of his nightmare dimension with our reality. A plan he's been sitting on for over 1 billion years, waiting for the right moment to strike. So the real question is, who is Bill Cipher? And how did his billion-year plan finally explode into Weirdmageddon? Let's connect the dots. Bill Cipher, the main villain of Gravity Falls, is a dream demon who hides behind jokes and deals, but is really aiming for something much bigger. He slips into people's minds, twists their desires, and manipulates them into building the tools he needs. His ultimate goal? Weirdmageddon, merging the nightmare realm with our reality and plunging the world into chaos. But the question is, where was Bill during the early Season 1 episodes? He was banished and trapped in the nightmare realm. He could only haunt the folks of Gravity Falls when he was summoned or through dreams. Bill Cipher wasn't just some random mystery scrawled into the journals. He was the warning. Out of all the supernatural entities documented, the journals made it clear. This was the one being you should never summon under any circumstances. But of course, in Gravity Falls, someone always does the thing you're not supposed to do. Gideon gets his hands on one of the journals and decides he's clever enough to summon Bill himself. At first, Bill comes across like just another magical trickster, offering deals, making flashy promises. But very quickly, it becomes obvious he's playing on a much bigger level than the other villains we'd seen. His deals always came with strings attached. He'd give you what you wanted, but in return, you owed him. The favor he asked for would always come later, on his terms. So that was all known about Bill until Season 1, and the real answers about who Bill actually was wouldn't come until Season 2. That's when we finally learn about the author of the journals, Stanford Pines, the long-lost twin brother of Grunkle Stan. The reveal unraveled everything: the portal, the decades-long cover-up, and most importantly, Ford's history with Bill Cipher. Ford originally came to Gravity Falls on a grant to study its bizarre supernatural activity. At first, everything seemed like random phenomena, just like what Dipper was noticing. But then Ford uncovered something ancient, a cave mural depicting Bill Cipher, along with an incantation that could summon him. Out of curiosity, Ford read it. Nothing happened, at least not right away. That night, in his dreams, Bill appeared. Bill introduced himself as a cosmic entity who chooses a human every 100 years to guide. To Ford, it sounded like fate, as if Bill himself had led him to the mural. And it worked. Ford was convinced Bill was some kind of muse, a higher intelligence offering knowledge that humans could never reach on their own. It was similar to the Greek tradition where spiritual muses who had greater knowledge than humans would help and guide humans. But that was not the case. Just like with Gideon, just like with anyone Bill manipulates, there was a darker motive. Bill wanted Ford to build a portal. And here's the kicker: this wasn't the first time. Long before Ford, Bill had already tried this with a shaman known as Modoc the Wise. Back in early tribal times, in the region where Gravity Falls is now, Bill whispered the same promises. Build a portal, unlock divine knowledge, a knowledge that is beyond the reach of humans. Of course, that was what the shaman wanted, and he agreed. But when Modoc glimpsed Weirdmageddon, the chaos that would spill into reality if the portal succeeded, he realized the truth. Using his spiritual knowledge, Modoc managed to banish Bill from Gravity Falls, sealing him away, and the portal he was trying to build was destroyed, which created the famous bottomless pit. That same banishment is why Bill needed Ford in the first place. Through the books, we came to know that the incantation Ford read was actually to summon the Bill and free him from the banishment Modoc the Wise put on Bill. Bill told Ford that he had foresight, and he was the one who actually guided him to that cave so that he could help Ford. By convincing Ford to restart the project, Bill could finally make his return and push for Weirdmageddon. Not just entering Gravity Falls, but tearing reality apart, bringing the nightmare realm itself to the Earth. Anyway, the portal was a success, creating an interdimensional rift. But Ford eventually caught on in his own words.
I'd been betrayed. I shut the portal down, severing the link between Bill's world and ours. I had to hide my instructions so no one could ever finish Bill's work. Bill's been waiting for the gateway to reopen ever since. All he needs to do is get his hands on this rift.
But inevitably, the billion-year-old prophecy was fulfilled. Bill tricked Mabel into handing the rift over, giving him the power he needed to begin Weirdmageddon.
At long last! The gate between worlds has opened! The event 1 billion years prophesied has come to pass! The day has come! The world is finally mine!
After Weirdmageddon begins, Bill finally gets what he's been waiting for. Total chaos unleashed. But there's one problem he didn't plan for. He can't leave Gravity Falls. Some strange barrier keeps his destruction locked inside the town, protecting the rest of the world from his reach. The only person who knows why is Ford, and that secret becomes the key to stopping Bill for good. So the Pines twins pull one final trick. They switch clothes, making Bill think he's entering Ford's mind when he's actually stepping into Stan's. The real Ford then uses the memory erasing gun on his brother, wiping Stan's memories and taking Bill down with him. In that moment, Bill Cipher is erased, his essence lost inside Stan's forgotten mind. It looked like the world was finally safe and the prophecy had played out. But after the show ended, new information started surfacing, from the journals and later the Book of Bill. This revealed not only more about where Bill came from, his past in a flat, two-dimensional world, his so-called liberation of that reality, and the nightmare dimension that became his true home, but also hinted at what might have happened to him after Gravity Falls. In Weirdmageddon, Bill finally opens up about where he really came from. A strange, two-dimensional world that existed long before ours. Everything there was flat. The people, the landscape, even their dreams. They could only see the outlines of each other, living in a reality with no depth, no perspective, no escape. He describes it as if he felt in chains in his dimension. Bill says he freed his world, the same way he wants to free ours. But the fire in his eyes and the screams echoing behind him make it pretty clear that what he calls freedom is actually destruction. That flat world isn't the only plane of existence, though. There are countless dimensions, all linked through one chaotic space known as Dimension Zero, the Nightmare Realm. Unlike normal realities, this place has no order, no rules. It's pure, formless chaos, the stuff nightmares are made of. This realm became Bill's home after he was cast out from other dimensions. It's where beings like him, ancient, dangerous, and unwelcome, end up. Surrounded by other twisted entities, Bill built his following there, creating the group we know as the Hench Maniacs. From the Nightmare Realm, he learned how to slip into human dreams, influencing thoughts and planting ideas. In the Book of Bill, we finally get a peek into Bill Cipher's own version of his story, or at least the version he wants us to believe. According to him, he was born with a special eye that let him see into the third dimension from his flat, two-dimensional world. He even claims he was beloved there, the best baby in the world, crowned by his dimension's mayor. But come on, this is Bill Cipher we're talking about. The guy's literally named after deception, a cipher, because even when he's telling the truth, it's wrapped in riddles and lies. That's exactly why another Gravity Falls book, The Curse of the Time Pirates, warns readers never to trust Bill's version of anything. Most of that story isn't canon, but its creator, Alex Hirsch, confirmed that one part, the Axolotl encounter, absolutely is. In that moment, Dipper and Mabel meet the cosmic Axolotl, a godlike being that exists between dimensions. When Dipper asks about Bill Cipher, the Axolotl responds with a cryptic poem. 60 degrees that come in threes, watches from within birch trees. Saw his own dimension burn, misses home and can't return. Says he's happy, he's a liar, blame the arson for the fire. If he wants to shirk the blame, he'll have to invoke my name. One way to absolve his crime, a different form, a different time. The poem basically calls Bill out, saying he's miserable beneath the act, that he destroyed his own home, and that if he ever wants to escape that guilt, he'll have to call upon the Axelottle's name. And that's exactly what happens. During his final moments in Gravity Falls, when Bill is being erased, he whispers something backwards, a message fans had to reverse to hear. Axolotl, my time has come. I invoke the ancient power that I may return. That single line confirms that the Axolotl is real, and that it might have the power to bring Bill back someday. But it also proves something darker. Bill's a liar. He wasn't the best baby or a misunderstood genius. In the Book of Bill, his memories twist and glitch when he tries to explain what really happened in his home dimension. What little we can read suggests that he tried to liberate his people by tearing open their reality, and ended up killing everyone. When he came to, he was surrounded by the aftermath of his own chaos, covered in the blood of his world. Even in his own writing, Bill blacks out whenever he tries to face what he did. It's like he can't admit it to himself, or refuses to. The Axolotl's poem calls him the arsonist who blames the fire, hinting that all his talk of freedom was just another excuse for destruction. Some fans like to imagine Bill as a tragic villain, someone twisted by trauma or rejection. But the truth seems simpler and far more chilling. If the Book of Bill is anything to go by, he wasn't made of evil. He was born that way. And even when given a chance at redemption by the Axolotl, Bill Cipher still chooses chaos. After wiping out his own dimension, Bill didn't immediately turn his eyes toward ours. For a while, he just floated through the nightmare realm, a chaotic, dreamlike void full of creatures too twisted for normal reality. But eternity in chaos starts to get boring, even for a cosmic trickster. Eventually, Bill realized something terrifying. The nightmare realm wasn't permanent. It was destined to collapse back into nothingness. And when it did, everything inside it would vanish too. That's when Bill's attention snapped back to the third dimension. To survive, he'd need an anchor, a way to root himself in another reality. And that's when Earth became his next obsession. But first, there was a problem. The Time Baby. Yeah, that giant godlike being who rules over time itself in the Gravity Falls universe. According to the Book of Bill, Time Baby isn't just a joke character. His real name is Cornelius Infinitum Titanicus the Infinitieth, and he is 2 billion years old. Basically the show's version of Kronos, the Greek titan who devoured his own children. And in one of the strangest details in the book, when Bill's imprisoned between dimensions, he's shown sitting right next to Cronus himself, mid-child snack. Bill supposedly defeats Time Baby and even takes credit for wiping out the dinosaurs, because of course he does, before setting his sights on humanity. His plan? Guide human evolution just enough so someone someday would be smart enough to build him a portal. He chose Earth's sweet spot, Gravity Falls, because it sits right on top of a weirdness attractor, the thinnest point between dimensions. Millions of years ago, an alien ship crashed there, giving the area access to advanced tech. Exactly what Bill needed. So he started whispering to early humans, beginning with a shaman named Modoc the Wise. Bill taught Modoc how to open a portal, and it worked. Kind of. Instead of unleashing ultimate power, it spat out lake monsters, forcing Modoc's people to flee. They sealed the area with protection spells and left warnings carved in stone, predicting that Bill would one day return, and his defeat would be witnessed by a group marked by mysterious symbols. When this plan of his backfired, Bill didn't care. He just moved on, jumping from one civilization to the next. Atlantis, Egypt, Greece. Everywhere he went, he whispered promises of knowledge, convincing cultures to build new portals. But each one failed. The Egyptians' attempt only lasted 10 minutes before a strange jackal-headed figure stepped through, and that image stuck. They called it Anubius, god of the dead. Bill got angry and started torturing them with nightmares and famines. And to appease the being they thought they'd angered, they built massive pyramids, which, according to Bill, once had arms and even a top hat just like him. Over time, those features crumbled away, leaving behind the stone pyramids we see today. Now, the idea that ancient civilizations like Egypt or Atlantis once possessed advanced portal technology might sound outlandish, but it's a theory that's been floating around for decades. Some believe that early cultures had access to knowledge far beyond their time. Knowledge that was later hidden or erased by those in power to keep humanity from uncovering the truth about our own origins. According to these theories, one symbol keeps showing up again and again, a circle hovering above a triangle or pyramid shape. To conspiracy researchers, this isn't just a random design. It's the blueprint of a gateway, a portal. But within the Gravity Falls universe, that symbol takes on a far darker meaning. It's the mark of Bill Cipher himself. The all-seeing eye above a pyramid doesn't just represent enlightenment or divine knowledge. It's the image of Bill's true form, a triangular being crowned with a single all-knowing eye. Across cultures and time, that same shape reappears, carved into temples, printed on currency, and drawn into secret sigils. Different names, different myths, but always the same design. Maybe those ancient monuments weren't just tributes to the gods after all. Maybe they were warnings, reminders of a cosmic entity that once tried to break through the walls of our world. He even sent a proposal to the Aztec civilization to make a portal from freshly carved out hearts. But after using up some 9,000 hearts, they could not do it. And as usual, eventually they also started praying to get rid of him. So yeah, Bill tried to persuade every civilization where triangles could be found now. In his twisted retelling, Bill claims that mythologies around the world, from dragons and fairies to Greek gods, were all shaped by his failed experiments with early humans. When he spoke of overthrowing Cornelius Titanicus, people remembered it as Zeus defeating Kronos. I guess he bragged and told them he was actually Zeus. Cultures across the planet built rituals to ward him off. Superstitions, as the book calls them, folk protections meant to keep the triangle with the single eye away. But Bill's influence lingered anyway, carved into symbols, religions, and even government seals. He even once got across a wizard who helped him build the portal, but then trapped him in a glass ball and wrapped a unicorn's hair around it so that Bill couldn't get out. He would make Bill dance and do tricks. Eventually, Bill got out and cursed his bloodline with nightmares for 100 years. So yeah, Bill was playing around the whole Earth in different timelines. And according to the Book of Bill, his reach didn't stop in ancient times. The reason all these ancient portals didn't work was that they lacked the ancient alien technology that was hanging around in Gravity Falls in America. So when people eventually migrated to the Americas, Bill followed. According to the Book of Bill, one of his most terrifying powers is something called Ciphervoyance. Basically, the ability to see across infinite timelines. Bill can glimpse every possible future, but not even he can see which one will actually happen until it's locked in. Nothing is truly inevitable, he says, but with enough nudging, with the right manipulation, anything can become inevitable. Bill had his sights set on the third dimension for trillions of years, but the prophecy of his arrival didn't come until about 1 billion years ago. Around the same time, the barrier between reality started to weaken in what we now call Gravity Falls. That was his opening, and from then on, every little decision, every manipulation was about steering history toward that single outcome, his entry into our world. He could already see dozens of possible futures. Ford dying of a heart attack at 91, Mabel or Dipper surviving Weirdmageddon in different ways, and he kept the pieces he needed close, always adjusting the timeline like a cosmic chess game. But Bill's obsession with Earth went far beyond one little town. After being banished by Modoc the Wise, he started guiding humanity's story from the shadows, even shaping the birth of nations. According to the Book of Bill, he whispered secrets to none other than George Washington, helping him turn the tide against the British. Of course, Washington and the others quickly realized Bill's idea of freedom was closer to chaos than liberty. The so-called deal fell apart. Or maybe it didn't. Some legends say the portal they tried to build actually existed, before sinking into a river erased from history. Either way, Bill wasn't done. His influence haunted Washington for years until that infamous symbol, the pyramid with the all-seeing eye, ended up right on the US dollar. Coincidence? Maybe, but in Gravity Falls universe, that's not just an emblem of power or enlightenment. It's a calling card, Bill Cipher's mark, hiding in plain sight. So now, as we've established, Bill got people from Europe to migrate and populate America. which was not inhabited by anyone for a long time. But what Bill wanted, the portal and the alien technology, he would not have in Washington, so he went on to establish Gravity Falls, the area which people of Earth left untouched after the shaman told his people to leave and never to populate it again. The very place which was the weirdness attractor and where the barrier between dimensions was weakest. The establishment of Gravity Falls itself is full of Bill's influence through his control of the Freemasons. Episode 8 of Season 1, The Irrational Treasure, tells us that Gravity Falls was officially founded by the Northwest family, the town's self-proclaimed first family. But by the end of that episode, it's revealed that Nathaniel Northwest actually stole the credit from the town's real founder. The real founder was Sir Lord Quentin Tremblay III. The show never explains why he did it, aside from good old-fashioned greed. That's where Journal 3 starts filling in the blanks. Ford mentions the mystery surrounding the Northwest family and even draws a symbol that looks suspiciously like the Freemason logo, though the show itself never names them directly. That one drawing is enough to spark countless fan theories. In real life, Freemasonry presents itself as a brotherhood focused on charity and knowledge. But in conspiracy lore, the same kind of lore Gravity Falls loves to play with, the Masons are often tied to secret power structures, hidden knowledge, and even the occult. The fact that George Washington, one of the founding fathers and a known Freemason, is said to have interacted with Bill Cipher in the Book of Bill only deepens the connection. Now, to be clear, none of this is confirmed in the show. The series never says that the Freemasons worship Bill or that he directly guided American history. But the visual clues line up a little too neatly to ignore. Many fans believe Alex Hirsch sprinkled those references intentionally, hinting that the Masons were just one of many secret societies that unknowingly followed Bill's influence through the ages. The theory goes even further, that the Masons inherited their rituals from the Knights Templar, who were created to discover the knowledge lost when the Second Temple of the Jews was destroyed, and they allegedly discovered the forbidden knowledge in Jerusalem. Knowledge that may have connected back to the same Egyptian civilization Bill once manipulated. It's a stretch, sure, but Gravity Falls loves mixing myth and conspiracy, and the idea that every secret order across time has been nudged by Bill fits right into that cosmic puppet master vibe. It's possible that's why Ford linked the Northwest family to Freemasonry in his notes, to suggest that Bill's cult didn't just vanish with time, but evolved with civilization. So, while not all of this is confirmed canon, the pattern is there. Hidden in journal sketches, background symbols, and names that feel a little too deliberate to be coincidence. Whether it's ancient pyramids, Masonic compasses, or the Masonic Northwest family, every sign seems to point back to one thing. Bill Cipher's influence runs deeper than anyone in Gravity Falls ever realized. Bill did all this so he could create a civilization in Gravity Falls. So eventually, someone would discover the cave paintings and summon him from his banishment. It may be that he specifically created the environment and guided Ford towards the cave. After Stanford Pines accidentally freed Bill Cipher from his dimensional prison, the stage was finally set for Weirdmageddon, the ultimate collision between chaos and order. He actually got what he wanted and was trying to achieve for 1 billion years after he got the prophecy. But there was another prophecy by Modoc the Shaman, and as foretold in the ancient prophecy, a set of mysterious symbols would one day witness his downfall. That word, witness, is key. The prophecy never said they would cause Bill's defeat, only that they would see it. Bill had waited all these years for this moment. Knowing about the prophecy, he didn't care at all. When Ford gathered the characters who matched the zodiac symbols, the Dipper and Mabel, the Stans, Seuss, Wendy, and others, he believed that by forming a circle, they would magically destroy Bill once and for all. But the momentary discord between two members, a rift symbolizing the broken bond between the twins, shattered that harmony. The circle's power fizzled. In hindsight, that failure was the point. The prophecy wasn't about magic at all. It was about connection. The real victory came not from symbols or spells, but from the reconnection of the two Stans. Brothers who, through years of pride and resentment, had become as fractured as the circle itself. Only when they literally switched places, Ford trading roles with Stan in the ultimate act of trust, was the prophecy fulfilled. Bill, trapped inside the weirdness bubble surrounding Gravity Falls, couldn't leave the town's boundaries. The only person who held the key to his escape was Ford, and that key was locked safely within Ford's mind, protected by a metal plate that blocked Bill's possession. So the brothers devised a plan: trick Bill into entering Stan's mind instead. Once inside, they would erase Stan's memories using the memory gun, erasing Bill right along with them. And it worked. For a brief, agonizing moment, Bill Cipher, the ancient dream demon, screamed as his consciousness dissolved into nothingness. But Bill's death wasn't true destruction, only containment. As revealed earlier, even the Axolotl, the mysterious cosmic being at the top of Gravity Falls multiverse, hinted that Bill could return. "He can return if he invokes my name," the creature said, "in another form, in another time." This line opens a massive theological dimension to Gravity Falls lore. In Judaism, this concept manifests as the ineffable name of God, the Shem HaMephorash, a sacred word so powerful it was eventually forbidden to speak aloud after the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 AD. When Bill Cipher invokes the Axolotl's name, he doesn't say it, he spells it backwards, Lot Laksa. According to the Zohar, one of the books of the Jews, this act of inverting or respelling divine names is one way to harness their energy, but always at a cost. In doing so, Bill may have used divine power not to defy God, but to serve his plan in a twisted, paradoxical way. It allowed him to survive, perhaps in another timeline or form, just as the Axolotl's poem suggests. He sent Bill to a therapy prison called Theraprism, where he was forced to undergo mandatory therapy. That's actually where Bill is right now and where he wrote the Book of Bill. But why would the Axolotl allow this? If it's the supreme being, why not destroy Bill outright? The answer may lie in cosmic balance. The Axolotl, unlike Bill, doesn't interfere directly. It acts through fate, through cause and consequence. Maybe it saw Bill's destruction of his own dimension, his manipulation of humans, and even his interference in evolution. Not as evil, but as necessary chaos. As we know that some other race on another planet was pretty advanced before even Earth had any humans. Bill's influence, for all its horror, transformed Earth from a land of beasts into one of intelligence, ambition, and imagination. It's because of Bill that humans learned to question, to invent, to dream. This was all his intention, to lead humans to a level where they can build a portal for him. In that sense, the Axolotl may have needed Bill, the corruptor, to awaken human potential. He allowed the prophecy to unfold not to end Bill, but to redeem existence through him, to make chaos serve creation. Evidence for this deeper manipulation comes from the Oracle, a being Ford encounters in Dimension 52, one of the many worlds he visited after being pulled into the interdimensional portal. The Oracle, like Bill, can see across timelines and possibilities. But unlike Bill, it seems to understand destiny's nuance, the fine line between free will and fate. When Ford meets the Oracle, it tells him, "You bear the face of the man who will defeat Bill Cipher." This misleads Ford, who assumes he must be the one to destroy Bill. But in truth, the Oracle had seen Stanley, his twin brother, as the true key. The vagueness of its words was intentional, subtly guiding Ford toward reconciliation rather than rivalry. The Oracle also provides Ford with the metal plate for his head, supposedly to protect him from Bill's psychic invasion. But looking deeper, this may have been by design. The plate ensured Ford couldn't be the one to sacrifice his memories. It forced him to rely on Stan, repairing the very relationship that Bill's influence had broken. In other words, the Oracle engineered Bill's defeat through emotional restoration, not brute force. Throughout Journal 3, Ford leaves cryptic codes suggesting that the Oracle is the opposite of Bill, equal in power but morally inverted. Where Bill seeks singular dominance through his singular eye, the Oracle sees infinite perspectives through her several eyes. In sketches, the Oracle even appears alongside Bill's henchmaniacs before being violently scratched out, implying that the two once shared a connection before diverging completely. One becoming the embodiment of destruction, the other of guidance. This duality mirrors countless mythological archetypes: Lucifer and Michael, Prometheus and Zeus, yin and yang. beings born of the same essence, but shaped by opposite choices. And so, both the Axolotl and the Oracle may have used Bill's arrogance as a tool, a catalyst for humanity's awakening. Bill thought he was manipulating existence for his own gain, but in the grand design, he was being manipulated all along. The concept of a godlike being tricked into descending to Earth, only to meet its downfall there, is one that echoes throughout countless mythologies. It's a pattern as old as storytelling itself. Divine arrogance meeting the humbling force of the mortal world. In Jewish tradition, this story takes the form of Satan and the fallen angels. These celestial beings once looked down upon humanity and scoffed, claiming that mortals were too flawed, too sinful to inherit the earth. But to prove how difficult it truly was to exist in the material world, God cast them down, not as punishment, but as a lesson. And the moment they touched the earth, they succumbed to the same temptations they once mocked, falling into lust and desire, abandoning their divine duties, and ultimately sealing their fate. What seems like rebellion is, in truth, a trap of divine design, a method of purging envy from heaven itself. A remarkably similar idea appears in Zoroastrianism, one of the world's oldest surviving religions. In its cosmology, the benevolent god Ahura Mazda creates the physical world as a deliberate snare to entrap his nemesis, Angra Mainyu, or Ahriman, the spirit of evil and chaos. Believing the earth to be a prize worth conquering, Ahriman enters it willingly, and in doing so limits himself. Once bound to the material plane, he begins to influence the hearts of men, spreading corruption and temptation. Yet, this act also ensures his defeat, as Ahura Mazda empowers humanity itself to be the weapon of his undoing. The earth becomes the battleground where good and evil balance each other, with human free will as the deciding force. These stories carry an unmistakable resonance with the Axolotl and Bill Cipher dynamic in Gravity Falls. Like Ahriman, Bill's entry into the third dimension may not have been the triumph he thought it was, but a cosmic setup orchestrated by a higher being. And just as the fallen angels' descent marked their undoing, Bill's obsession with the human realm became his own trap. While the show ended with Bill's apparent defeat, and through the Book of Bill, we came to know that his story didn't end there. Instead of being truly destroyed, Bill's essence was sent to a karmic rehabilitation realm known as the Theraprism, a kind of cosmic prison meant to reform entities like him. But even there, Bill is far from powerless and is still refusing to be rehabilitated. The book suggests he managed to reach out to readers, using his connection to the pages themselves as a means to communicate, manipulate, and perhaps even plot another escape. The book is made up of human brain matter which he could access from the prison. According to Bill, his statue, the one hidden deep in the Oregon woods, holds the key. All it would take, he says, is a simple handshake to bring him back, or to shatter reality in an instant. Whether this was meant as a warning or an invitation, we may never know. Alex Hirsch himself blurred the lines between fiction and reality with a real-life treasure hunt that led fans to that very statue, teasing that the story of Bill Cipher might not be finished. Maybe one day, in another form, another world, or another show, Bill will find his way out of the Theraprism and back into ours. And so, after peeling back every layer of mystery, from the flat world of Euclidia to the mind-bending forests of Gravity Falls, one thing becomes clear. Bill Cipher was never just a cartoon villain. He's a symbol of chaos, knowledge, and the dangerous price of curiosity. From ancient Egypt to secret societies, from prophecy to paradox, his shadow stretches across time and imagination. But maybe that's the true genius of Gravity Falls. It was never just about monsters or mysteries. It was about us, our obsession with the unknown, our hunger to decode what can't be explained, and the fine line between discovery and destruction. Whether Bill is truly gone or still whispering through the cracks of reality doesn't really matter. What matters is that he changed the way we look at stories, and maybe even the way we look at truth. So now it's your turn. What do you think really happened behind the curtain of Gravity Falls? Was Bill a destroyer, or just a misunderstood god of chaos playing his part in a cosmic plan? Did the Axolotl guide him or use him? Drop your theories below, because this mystery doesn't end here. It just changes shape, And as Bill himself might say, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy. Stay curious. Stay questioning. And remember, in Gravity Falls, nothing is ever truly over.